And I'm looking for my mother's love, yes. And so there's a part of me that feels I don't have this, yes. Okay, why don't you write that down so I can heal it later.
We were looking at this yesterday on our adventure of errand running. That it started by your reaction of just going out into the world, having to deal with the people, and we had to do some returns and that kind of thing, and that anticipation. But a lot of, I can't remember what it was specifically, but some of it had to do with, yes, you wanted your mother's love, and how were you supposed to maybe behave in public in order to get it? How were you supposed to do this in order to get that?
Yes, and I noticed that what I wrote in my little manual for living was, okay, in order to get my mother's love, okay, do not act like that, check. Now, to get my mother's love, that made my mother happy, check, do that. So it was a lot of right and wrong and judging as a kid, but I have one strong specific memory, and I think it's related to when she went back to work. She gave me a bag of candy, chocolates, Hershey chocolate bars, and the neighbor that was right across from us would have to pay to babysit us, and they had a boy and a girl the same age as me, you know, but I didn't want to play with them. I did not want to talk to them. And I remember as I look out the window, my house is right there. There's my mother getting in the car, and she didn't have a vehicle, so she had somebody to pick her up. So I watch her get in the car with a man, drive off. And my mother, I blame work, which affects my ability to work. That was something that I had saw in my mind, was that I was completely crushed and heartbroken that my mother wasn't able to do this. Now you have to remember, as a 2-year-old, that's how you define relationship in that moment, especially if you're thrown off center. So anyways, my immune system is constantly feeling when it's not being taken care of, loved. So if the group consciousness out there have had the same thing, then there is the inner crying. I mean, I have healed a lot of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the next call.
I just saw that we had a caller, so...
Yep. Area code
504. You're on the air
with Brenda, Jen, and Scott.
Hi. My name is Debbie from Louisiana, and I've been getting messages about moon energy from several different sources, and apparently I'm not paying attention. And I was wondering if you could tell me about that.
Okay.
How it relates to you?
Moon energy. Now, what they're telling you need to pay attention to it, or that you're influenced by it? I mean, what are you getting?
Oh, I need to pay attention to it, and that it's my energy. When I was young, I was like in first grade, I actually drew the moon tarot cards for my mother and told her this whole story about my moon dog, and totally forgot about it because I'm in my 40s. And an angel lady said, "What's this deal with moon dogs?" I had no idea what she was talking about, thinking about the kitchen movie, but then I remembered, and it hit me like bricks. Then another person told me about Tina, a moon goddess,
Okay.
and then Haniel. And it's just like, I'm not getting something here, how to work with moon energy, or if that's my gift, or
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right. What I'm seeing and what I'm tapping into is that younger part of you, and you were quite knowledgeable about all that information. And so I was asking, how come did you shut it off? And it said, yes, I had to. And so you shut it off about 3 years old, and they said that you were running from it. And I said, well, why did you have to run from it? And you felt like, how do I put this? You felt like the energy was bullying you. Not in a bad way, it's just that it was overcoming. And the only way I can describe this is when I have 2 good friends, a husband and a wife, and their son died. The husband felt the life force of the son leave because he had him in his arms, and so they have to be separated in order to have jobs, so they really don't live in the same household, but they meet up as often as they can. But when he comes down, his energy is that I've got to be with her, I've got to talk to her, I've got to make love to her, blah, blah, blah. So the energy feels like a bully energy. And that's not as
Bully? Are you saying
Be-
bully like B-U-L-L-Y?
correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
And
My father was a bully
okay.
when I was young, at that age.
Okay, and that could be the energy but it's the energy that's really just there. It's pushing. It's sometimes, and they're saying that when you got this mixed up with the moon energy, felt like your father's energy. Okay, so it's then throwing it out with the baby with the bathwater, cutting your nose off to spite your face. You're throwing out the good with the bath. So as you were defining it as a kid, you couldn't separate the moon energy from the energy of your father, which literally caused you to say, oh, they're one and the same, which they're not. And so if you were to sit down and meditate and just allow yourself to hook up to the moon energy, the first thing that your little self says, oh, hell no, because the energy feels like it could be misunderstood, that it's because of the crossover of the father. So literally you would think, oh my God, it feels like it's demonic or something evil, but that's not true. It's just that that's how you defined it as a kid. The moon energy was supposed to help you nourish and go into your authenticness, but right now it's only coming through as muddled and confused and literally doesn't not know how to talk to you because you have this filter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now Jen.
Yeah, well,
Oh, go ahead.
the other thing you said, I was running.
Yeah.
At that same time, my dream, I was running from a white, glowy snake. I was exhausted when I wake up.
Okay.
That went away.
Okay. Now, what's interesting is that you said it was like a snake, right? I'm gonna take and look up some what it represents. Rebirth, shedding the old and beginning of the new. Face the fear and do not resist change. Resurrect some part of your life. So it's literally saying it's time to go back and take your little self and heal the filter so that you can embrace that part of the energy that is you. Okay, this is part of you. This is you. This is how you know how to communicate. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I get a lot of people telling my intuition's wrong, and I remember using it now. And I don't speak to my father now, but he was very abusive. And I felt like I cleaned all this up. I'm just shocked, you know? Like, I thought it was done.
Well, you have to remember, as a little girl, she still, I'm going to ask your soul, do you have stuff you have to heal with your father? No, it's not with your father. It is how you taking and defining that energy that's the moon energy that still looks like your father. It's not the same. That's like I was telling you the story of the husband and the wife. The wife thought he was being a bully, but that's not what he was doing. I mean, it was actually a smothering energy, and it was very forceful energy. And when they came in for couples counseling, when we healed that part, helped him heal the pain of losing his son and actually feeling the life force not lost, he was able to have a different relationship with his wife because that energy that was pushing was no longer there, and now the wife actually wants to be with him more. And that's the same thing with the moon energy, is that you have it attached with your father. We need to separate the father off that moon energy, and it won't look so threatening.
Okay.
And you're...
That's funny. It is.
And so there's a part of you that wants that authentic piece of yourself, so that you can be more accurate with your intuition, and you can be more, instinctual about who you are. Now, Jen drew through 3 cards. What you got, Jen?
So this was at the beginning when Brenda had just initially started on her reading. I asked the deck, Wisdom of Avalon cards from Colette Baron Reed, what is the moon energy supposed to be in your life? And it's the Swan, which is about transformation and trusting